Today, we embark on an extraordinary journey, the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the final messenger of Allah and a guiding light for humanity. His story begins in the sacred deserts of Mecca, where an orphaned boy grew to become a leader of unparalleled wisdom, compassion, and faith. Through trials of loss, moments of revelation, and the unyielding spread of a divine message, his life transformed the hearts of millions and reshaped the course of history. This is not just a tale of the past, but a timeless testament to perseverance, justice, and the unshakable power of faith. Join us as we uncover the full story of Prophet Muhammad, a story that inspires, enlightens, and connects us all. In the heart of the Arabian desert, where the sands stretch endlessly under the sun's gentle gaze and the stars illuminate the vast, tranquil night, a story began that would change the course of human history. It is a story of hope, resilience, and divine purpose, told through the life of a man chosen to guide humanity from darkness to light. This man, born into the sacred city of Mecca, arrived in a world steeped in idolatry and tribal conflict, yet his soul carried the promise of unity and peace. He was Muhammad, a name that would one day echo across the world as the final messenger of Allah. In the year known as the Year of the Elephant, a miraculous event foretold his birth. An invading army that sought to destroy the Kaaba was vanquished by divine intervention, marking the arrival of a child whose life would be guided by the hand of the Almighty. His journey began amidst loss and hardship, yet from these trials emerged a character of unparalleled strength and wisdom. Orphaned as a child, Muhammad grew up in the care of his family, surrounded by the traditions and beauty of the desert. The vast, open skies and rolling dunes became the backdrop of his early years, planting within him a deep connection to creation and a heart open to divine inspiration. Though his beginnings were humble, there was always a quiet brilliance in Muhammad's demeanor, a kindness and honesty that set him apart even as a boy. Those who knew him recognized a rare nobility in his actions, a steadfast trustworthiness that earned him the title Al-Amin, the trustworthy. Little did they know that this same man, whose heart carried the burdens of the weak and whose voice soothed the suffering, would one day rise to deliver a message that would transcend time, culture, and boundaries. This is not just the story of a man, but the story of humanity's journey toward faith, compassion, and salvation. It is a tale of divine love interwoven with human struggles, a testament to the unyielding strength of spirit. Let us embark on this serene journey into the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and discover the timeless lessons his story holds for all of us. Under the gentle canopy of the Arabian sky, a child was born into a world that would soon test his resilience and shape his destiny. In the sacred city of Mecca, nestled between the rugged mountains and the shimmering sands, his arrival was met with both joy and sorrow. His name was Muhammad, and he entered the world as an orphan, for his father, Abdullah, had passed away before he could witness the birth of his son. This loss, though profound, was only the beginning of a life filled with trials that would forge him into a beacon of strength and faith. Muhammad's mother, Amina, embraced her son with a love that sought to shield him from the world's harsh realities. To ensure his health and development, she followed the custom of sending him to live among the Bedouins in the desert. It was here, amidst the simplicity of their lives and the purity of their language, that young Muhammad spent his earliest years. The endless expanse of dunes, the soft hum of the desert wind, and the brilliance of the stars became his companions, nurturing a deep sense of wonder and reflection in his heart. When he returned to his mother at the age of 5, their reunion was brief. During a journey to visit his father's grave in Medina, Amina fell gravely ill. In her final moments, she held her son close, her eyes filled with both love and sorrow. Muhammad was left to face a world without her gentle guidance, and once again, his life was marked by loss. At just 6 years old, he was entrusted to the care of his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, a respected elder of the Quraysh tribe. Abdul Muttalib embraced Muhammad with a warmth and affection that sought to fill the void left by his parents. He would often keep the boy close during tribal gatherings, proudly proclaiming that his grandson was destined for greatness. Yet, this season of comfort was fleeting. When Muhammad was only 8 years old, his grandfather passed away, leaving him to grapple with the weight of yet another farewell. The boy's journey of loss and resilience led him to the care of his uncle, Abu Talib. Though not a man of wealth, Abu Talib provided Muhammad with a home filled with care and protection. He treated his nephew as one of his own, teaching him the values of honor, compassion, and perseverance. Under his uncle's guidance, Muhammad began to assist in trade, traveling with caravans and learning the art of negotiation. These journeys exposed him to diverse cultures and peoples, broadening his understanding of the world while deepening his innate sense of justice and humility. Despite the hardships that marked his youth, Muhammad's character remained unshaken. Those around him were drawn to his gentle demeanor and unwavering honesty. Even as a child, he carried himself with a dignity that earned him the respect of his peers. Through the trials of loss and the lessons of life, Muhammad grew into a young man whose heart was both tender and steadfast, prepared for the extraordinary path that lay ahead. His early years, though shadowed by sorrow, were the foundation upon which his remarkable destiny would be built, a destiny that would illuminate the lives of countless generations. As the years unfolded in the bustling city of Mecca, Muhammad grew into a young man whose character shone with an unassuming brilliance. The trials of his childhood had tempered his spirit, instilling in him a quiet resilience and an innate kindness that drew people to him. Amid the clamor of tribal disputes and the rigid customs of his society, he carried himself with a grace that seemed to transcend the world around him. His words were measured, his actions thoughtful, and his heart was open to the needs of others. In a land where deceit and cunning often dominated trade and social interactions, Muhammad's honesty stood as a rare gem. He approached every task, no matter how small, with sincerity and dedication. Whether it was tending to his uncle's trade caravans or mediating disputes among his peers, his integrity remained unwavering. His reputation spread across Mecca, earning him the title of Al-Amin, the trustworthy. It was a name spoken not out of obligation, but with genuine respect, for his truthfulness and reliability were unmatched. Yet, it was not only his honesty that captured the hearts of those around him. Muhammad's compassion resonated deeply in a society often marked by stark inequalities. He was known to comfort the downtrodden, to share his modest means with those in need, and to stand with the vulnerable when others turned away. His presence was a source of solace for many, a reminder that dignity and kindness could thrive even in the harshest of environments. In moments of conflict, his wisdom was sought after by leaders and common folk alike. One such moment would later be etched into Meccan memory: the rebuilding of the Kaaba. As the leaders of various tribes quarreled over who would have the honor of placing the sacred black stone, tempers flared, and violence seemed inevitable. It was Muhammad who offered a solution that satisfied all. He suggested placing the stone on a cloak and inviting each tribal leader to lift it together, symbolizing unity. His wisdom not only averted bloodshed, but also solidified his standing as a man of unparalleled fairness and ingenuity. Though he lived in a society steeped in idolatry and rigid traditions, Muhammad was troubled by the moral decay and injustice he witnessed. The worship of idols and the exploitation of the weak weighed heavily on his heart. Even as he gained admiration for his character, a restlessness stirred within him. In the stillness of his soul, he sought something greater, something true. His remarkable reputation among the people of Mecca was not merely the result of his deeds, but a reflection of the purity of his spirit. It was this quiet nobility, this unwavering trust in justice and truth, that would one day prepare him to carry a message destined to change the world forever. Among the bustling markets and caravan trails of Mecca, where trade and commerce thrived under the golden sun, a meeting took place that would become the foundation of an extraordinary partnership. Khadija bint Khuwaylid, a wealthy and noble widow, renowned for her sharp intellect and business acumen, had heard of Muhammad's integrity and trustworthiness. Stories of his fair dealings and honest nature had reached her, and she saw in him a man who could be entrusted with the vast responsibilities of her trading ventures. She offered Muhammad a position to oversee one of her caravans, a role he accepted with humility. Together with Maysara, her loyal servant, Muhammad journeyed to Syria, navigating the scorching sands and the challenges of trade with unparalleled diligence and fairness. Upon his return, Maysara spoke of his remarkable character, the way he treated everyone with respect, his calm demeanor, and his unwavering honesty. These words confirmed what Khadija had already begun to perceive. Muhammad was not just a capable merchant, but a man of profound nobility and grace. Though Khadija was older and of high social standing, she felt a deep admiration for Muhammad that blossomed into love. She recognized in him not only a partner for her business, but a companion for her heart. Breaking from the customs of the time, she sent a proposal of marriage through a trusted confidant. When the proposal reached Muhammad, he was humbled and sought the counsel of his uncle Abu Talib, who encouraged him to accept. Their marriage was one of mutual respect, love, and partnership. In Khadija, Muhammad found more than a wife. He found a sanctuary. Her wisdom and unwavering support became a source of strength for him, while his kindness and honesty filled her life with a sense of peace and fulfillment. Their home was a haven of tranquility, marked by compassion and shared purpose. Together, they raised children and built a life rooted in faith, generosity, and love for one another. Khadija's presence was a constant source of comfort for Muhammad, her belief in him unshakable even in the face of the unknown. She encouraged his reflections and stood by him as he grappled with the spiritual restlessness that stirred within him. In her arms he found solace, in her counsel he found wisdom, and in her heart he found unwavering faith. Their union was not only a partnership of two souls, but a prelude to the profound journey that lay ahead, a journey that would forever change the course of humanity. The stillness of the desert night wrapped itself around the mountains outside Mecca, a serene silence, broken only by the occasional whispers of the wind. Amid this tranquility, the cave of Hira stood as a humble sanctuary, its rugged walls a witness to the deep reflections of a man who sought solace within. Muhammad had begun retreating to this secluded place, drawn by an unshakable restlessness in his soul. He spent hours, sometimes days, immersed in thought, pondering the mysteries of creation and the state of his people. The injustices he saw in Mecca, the idol worship, the oppression of the weak, and the greed that consumed hearts, deeply troubled him. Here, in the solitude of the cave, he found a space to seek answers, to search for meaning beyond the material world. It was during one of these retreats, on a night destined to alter the course of history, that the tranquility of the cave was suddenly pierced by an overwhelming presence. As Muhammad sat in quiet contemplation, the angel Jibril appeared before him, filling the space with a radiant light that seemed to emanate from the heavens themselves. Muhammad's heart raced with fear, for he had never encountered anything like this before. The angel's voice, both commanding and reassuring, broke through the stillness. "Iqra," it said, "read." Terrified and unsure, Muhammad responded, "I am not a reader." The command came again, and once more he expressed his inability to read. On the third command, Jibril spoke words that would become the first revelation of the Quran. "Read in the name of your Lord who created man from a clot of blood. Read, and your Lord is the most generous, who taught by the pen, taught man that which he knew not." These words resonated deep within Muhammad, as though unlocking a truth he had always carried in his heart. They were not merely instructions, they were a message from the Creator, a call to something far greater than himself. Shaken and trembling, Muhammad stumbled out of the cave, his mind and soul overwhelmed by the experience. The weight of the divine words, the sheer magnitude of what he had witnessed, left him filled with both awe and fear. His feet instinctively carried him back to the one person who had always been his refuge, Khadijah. When he reached their home, his voice trembled as he asked, "Cover me, cover me." Khadijah, her heart steady with love and concern, wrapped him in a cloak and stayed by his side until his trembling subsided. As Muhammad recounted the extraordinary encounter, Khadijah listened with unwavering attention. Though he expressed fear and uncertainty, unsure of what this event meant, she met his words with calm assurance. "By Allah," she said, "he will never disgrace you. You uphold the ties of kinship. Speak the truth, help the poor and needy, serve your guests generously, and assist those in hardship." Her faith in him was absolute, a reflection of the trust she had in his character and the purity of his soul. To ease his mind further, Khadijah took him to her cousin, Waraka ibn Nawfal, a learned Christian who was well versed in the scriptures of old. When Waraka heard Muhammad's account, his face lit up with recognition. "This is the same angel who came to Moses," he declared. "You have been chosen as a prophet to your people, but know this, your mission will not be easy. They will oppose you, and you will face great trials." Though Waraka's words confirmed the divine nature of the encounter, they also foreshadowed the immense challenges ahead. Muhammad, once a respected merchant and beloved member of Meccan society, now carried a burden that would change his life forever. The revelations that began in the quiet of the cave marked the beginning of a mission to call humanity back to the worship of the one true God, Allah. In the days that followed, Muhammad grappled with the weight of his new role. The responsibility felt immense, yet he found solace in the unwavering support of Khadijah, the first to believe in him and his message. Her acceptance marked the birth of Islam, a faith that would grow from those first quiet moments into a global beacon of hope and guidance. Though the path ahead was fraught with uncertainty, Muhammad's heart began to steady, his trust in Allah deepening with each passing day. This was the beginning of a journey unlike any other, a journey that would illuminate the hearts of millions, offering a message of mercy, justice, and unity. In the solitude of the cave of Hira, a man once known simply as Al-Amin had been chosen to carry the words of the Almighty, words that would echo across time and space, guiding humanity toward the eternal light of truth. The dawn of Islam began not with the sound of trumpets or the clamor of crowds, but in the quiet intimacy of a small home in Mecca. The first revelation weighed heavily on Muhammad's heart, and as he shared it with his beloved wife Khadijah, her unwavering faith became his strength. She believed in him without hesitation, her love and conviction a guiding light in those early days. Through her acceptance, the seeds of Islam were planted, and the message of Allah began its journey. At first, the message was spread in whispers, carried by the wind of trust to those closest to Muhammad. Among the earliest to believe was his young cousin Ali, who, though still a child, displayed a clarity of heart that made him quick to embrace the truth. With youthful courage, he stood beside Muhammad, his small frame carrying a faith as steadfast as the mountains. Then came Abu Bakr, Muhammad's dearest friend and confidant, a man of noble character who recognized the profound truth in his companion's words. Abu Bakr's acceptance was a turning point, for his influence among the people of Mecca opened doors for others to hear the message. Through him, notable figures like Uthman ibn Affan and Zubair ibn Awam joined this burgeoning faith, their hearts drawn to the light of monotheism. The believers, though few in number, gathered in secret to learn and pray. They met in the home of Al-Arqam, a young Muslim whose house became a sanctuary of faith amidst the growing tension of the outside world. It was there, in the hushed corners of Al-Arqam's home, that the beauty of the Quran was recited and the teachings of Islam took root. Muhammad's voice, calm and steady, carried the words of Allah into the hearts of his followers, each verse a beacon of guidance and hope. They listened with reverence, their faith growing with every revelation, their hearts bound by the shared knowledge that they were part of something far greater than themselves. Yet secrecy could only shield them for so long. As whispers of this new faith began to spread, the leaders of Mecca, the Quraysh, took notice. For generations, the idols of the Kaaba had been at the center of their culture, their economy, and their identity. The call to worship one God and abandon these idols was not just a challenge to their beliefs, it was a direct threat to their power. The Quraysh responded with disdain, accusing Muhammad of madness, sorcery, and deceit. They sought to discredit him, but his character, known and respected by all, remained unassailable. As opposition grew, so too did the resolve of Muhammad and his followers. They faced insults, mockery, and at times physical abuse, yet their faith only deepened. Among the most inspiring of them was Bilal ibn Rabah, a slave who endured unspeakable torture for his refusal to renounce Allah. Under the scorching desert sun, his voice would rise with unwavering strength as he cried, "Ahad! Ahad! One! One!" His resilience became a symbol of the unyielding spirit of the early Muslims, a testament to the power of faith. Through these trials, Muhammad remained a pillar of strength for his followers. His words carried the wisdom of patience and the promise of reward, reminding them of the prophets who had come before, who faced similar hardships in their missions to guide humanity. He reassured them that their struggles were not in vain, that their perseverance would pave the way for a brighter future. The early days of Islam were marked by quiet courage, by whispered prayers in the shadows, and steadfast hearts in the face of adversity. What began in the solitude of a prophet's reflections had become a small but unbreakable community, bound together by their love for Allah and their trust in Muhammad's message. They were the first to carry the light of Islam, and through their sacrifices, the foundation of a faith destined to illuminate the world was laid. In their strength, their unity, and their unwavering belief, the spirit of Islam began to flourish, promising a future filled with hope and guidance for all of humanity. The morning sun rose over Mecca, casting its golden light across the city's narrow streets and the sacred Kaaba at its heart. Life in the bustling city moved as it always had, the hum of trade mixing with the laughter of children and the solemn chants of prayers offered to countless idols. Yet, within this familiar rhythm, something new was stirring. Muhammad, once a quiet merchant known for his honesty and compassion, was about to step into the public eye with a message that would forever change the course of history. For 3 years, Muhammad had shared the message of Islam in secrecy, nurturing a small yet devoted group of followers. Their faith had grown like a delicate sapling, tended carefully and shielded from the harshness of their surroundings. But now, Allah's command had come. The time for secrecy was over. Muhammad's heart, though heavy with the knowledge of what lay ahead, was firm in its resolve. He was to proclaim the oneness of Allah openly, to call the people of Mecca away from their idols and guide them toward truth and justice. With unwavering faith, Muhammad ascended the hill of Safa, a place where announcements of great importance were made. From his vantage point, he could see the city spread out before him, its people moving about their daily lives. He called out to them, his voice steady and clear, summoning the tribes of Quraysh to gather. One by one, they came, drawn by the sound of his voice and the respect they held for him. It was not often that Al-Amin, the trustworthy, called for their attention, and they were eager to hear what he had to say. As the crowd grew, Muhammad addressed them with calm conviction. "If I were to tell you that an enemy was advancing upon you from behind this hill, would you believe me?" he asked. The people, who had long known him to speak nothing but the truth, replied as one, "Yes, for we have never known you to lie." Then came the words that would shake their world. "I am a warner to you, sent before a great punishment. Worship none but Allah and forsake your idols." The air grew still, the crowd stunned into silence. Muhammad's words were not just a call to faith. They were a challenge to everything the people of Mecca had built their lives around. Among them, Abu Lahab, Muhammad's own uncle, was the first to break the silence, his voice filled with anger and disdain. "May you perish! Is this why you gathered us?" His harsh words marked the beginning of open hostility toward the message of Islam. As the days passed, the leaders of Quraysh grew increasingly alarmed. Muhammad's call to monotheism threatened not only their religious practices, but also the economic foundation of Mecca, which relied heavily on the pilgrimage trade centered around the idols of the Kaaba. Determined to protect their power, they sought to discredit Muhammad, accusing him of sorcery, madness, and deceit. Yet, his character remained untarnished, his reputation as Al-Amin standing in stark contrast to their accusations. When slander failed, the Quraysh turned to persecution. They pressured Muhammad's uncle, Abu Talib, to abandon him, but Abu Talib, though not a Muslim himself, refused to betray the nephew he loved. Frustrated, the Quraysh directed their wrath toward Muhammad's followers. The vulnerable, slaves, women, and the poor bore the brunt of their cruelty. Among them was Bilal, whose unwavering cry of "Ahad, Ahad" echoed defiantly as he endured torture under the blazing sun. Others faced imprisonment, beatings, and social ostracism, yet their faith remained unshaken. Despite the growing opposition, Muhammad continued to preach with patience and wisdom. He called the people to reflect on the beauty of creation, the justice of Allah, and the fleeting nature of worldly wealth and power. His words, though simple, carried a profound truth that resonated with those who listened with open hearts. Slowly, Islam began to take root, reaching men and women from all walks of life. The small community of believers, though tested by hardship, grew in strength and unity, bound together by their shared faith. The tension in Mecca continued to escalate, the Quraysh's hostility intensifying with each new convert. Yet, Muhammad remained steadfast, his trust in Allah unwavering. He reminded his followers of the prophets who had come before, who faced trials and opposition, yet never wavered in their missions. His words offered solace and strength, a reminder that the path of truth was never without struggle, but was always illuminated by the promise of Allah's mercy and guidance. What had begun as a single voice calling from the hill of Safa had now become a growing movement, a spark of faith that refused to be extinguished. The message of Islam, though met with resistance, was beginning to shine, its light reaching into the hearts of those who yearned for justice, compassion, and truth. In the face of opposition, Muhammad's resolve and the unyielding faith of his followers stood as a testament to the enduring power of belief and the transformative strength of patience and perseverance. The quiet resilience of Muhammad and his followers had not gone unnoticed by the Quraysh. Despite their efforts to discredit him, to slander his name, and to torment those who believed in his message, the faith of the Muslims had grown stronger. This unyielding commitment to Allah's oneness, a challenge to the foundations of Meccan society, filled the Quraysh with both fear and frustration. Their pride and power, long anchored in the worship of idols and the wealth they brought, now seemed threatened by the unwavering spirit of this small yet steadfast community. In their desperation to quash the message of Islam, the Quraysh devised a plan they believed would bring Muhammad and his supporters to their knees. They declared a total boycott against the Banu Hashim, Muhammad's clan, forbidding all trade and social relations with them. No one was to marry their daughters, sell them goods, or provide them with food or aid. It was an act of calculated cruelty designed to isolate Muhammad and his followers, to starve them into submission and force them to abandon their faith. The Banu Hashim, including those who did not share Muhammad's beliefs but stood by him out of familial loyalty, retreated to a narrow valley on the outskirts of Mecca. For 3 long years, they endured the suffocating grip of this boycott. The once lively voices of children grew faint with hunger, and the elders, weakened by lack of food, often sat in silent prayer. The sounds of celebration and prosperity in Mecca seemed like a distant world, unreachable from the desolate valley that had become their prison. Yet even in this dire situation, Muhammad's steadfastness shone like a beacon. His words offered solace to those around him, reminding them of Allah's promise and the trials faced by the prophets before them. He spoke of patience as a shield and faith as their nourishment. The revelations continued to descend, their verses filling the hearts of the believers with hope and strength. In the darkness of the valley, the light of faith burned brighter, sustaining their spirits when their bodies grew weak. Despite the isolation, small acts of kindness from outside the valley reminded the Banu Hashim that not all of Mecca shared the Quraysh's cruelty. Hisham ibn Amr, a respected member of the city, could not bear the suffering of his fellow tribesmen. Under the cover of night, he smuggled food and supplies into the valley, risking his own safety to provide relief. His bravery inspired others to join him, their quiet defiance sowing seeds of compassion amidst the Quraysh's oppression. Over time, the moral weight of the boycott began to wear on the conscience of some Meccan leaders. The sight of children crying from hunger, the whispers of dissent among the people, and the stories of those who secretly aided the Banu Hashim began to shift the tide. A group of influential men, moved by a sense of justice, confronted the Quraysh leaders. They argued that the boycott was not only cruel, but dishonorable, a stain on their city's legacy of hospitality and kinship. As these voices grew louder, an extraordinary event took place. The parchment upon which the terms of the boycott had been written and hung within the Kaaba was discovered to have been miraculously altered. Termites had devoured it, leaving intact only the words, "In your name, O Allah." The Quraysh, faced with this undeniable sign, were forced to acknowledge their folly. The boycott was lifted, and the Banu Hashim emerged from the valley, their spirits unbroken and their faith stronger than ever. But the end of the boycott did not mark the end of Muhammad's trials. In the months that followed, he experienced 2 devastating losses that would shake his heart to its core. His beloved wife, Khadijah, passed away, leaving an immeasurable void in his life. She had been his confidant, his greatest supporter, and the first to believe in his mission. Without her presence, the world felt colder, though her memory remained a source of strength. Soon after, Abu Talib, his uncle and protector, also departed. Though Abu Talib had never embraced Islam, his unwavering defense of Muhammad had been a shield against the worst of the Quraysh's hostility. With both Khadijah and Abu Talib gone, Muhammad faced a profound loneliness, the weight of his mission resting heavier on his shoulders. This period of immense grief came to be known as the Year of Sorrow, a chapter of loss and hardship in Muhammad's life. Yet even in this time of mourning, his faith in Allah remained unshaken. He turned to prayer and reflection, seeking solace in the divine and strength in the knowledge that his mission was far from over. The trials he endured only deepened his resolve, for he knew that the path to truth was never without struggle. The boycott and the year of sorrow marked a turning point, not just for Muhammad, but for the entire Muslim community. They emerged from these trials with a resilience forged in the crucible of hardship, their hearts united by faith and their spirits unbroken. Their perseverance stood as a testament to the enduring power of belief, a reminder that even in the face of the greatest adversities, the light of faith could guide them forward. From the depths of suffering, they rose with renewed strength, ready to carry the message of Islam to a world that awaited its light. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting its golden glow across the sands of Arabia, a quiet serenity enveloped the land. In the stillness, the story of Muhammad's life echoed, a testament to a legacy built on perseverance and unshakable faith. His journey had begun in the cradle of hardship, marked by loss and struggle, yet it was through these trials that his character was forged, resilient and unyielding. The message he carried, one of hope, justice, and the oneness of Allah, had stirred hearts and souls in ways unseen before. Those who followed him had faced unimaginable trials, enduring persecution, ostracism, and the pain of separation from their loved ones. Yet their faith remained steadfast, their belief in Allah a source of strength that transcended the hardships of the physical world. Through whispered prayers in the shadows and defiant cries of Ahad, Ahad, in the face of oppression, they clung to the promise of something greater, a truth that offered solace and purpose. Muhammad's presence was like a beacon amidst the storm, his words offering reassurance and his actions demonstrating unwavering compassion. He taught his followers not only to trust in Allah, but to embody the principles of mercy and humility. When faced with cruelty, he responded with patience. When confronted with ignorance, he offered wisdom. His life became a living example of the very message he proclaimed, a reflection of the eternal values that Islam sought to instill in humanity. As the community of believers grew, so too did the challenges they faced. Yet, with each trial came a deeper understanding of the profound strength that faith could offer. The hardships they endured were not seen as mere suffering, but as steps on a path illuminated by divine guidance. Muhammad's unwavering trust in Allah inspired those around him, reminding them that perseverance was not just a necessity, but a virtue. The legacy he left behind was one of unity, compassion, and an enduring commitment to justice. His message reached beyond the confines of Mecca, touching the lives of countless people across generations and continents. It was a legacy that proved the transformative power of faith, not as a fleeting moment of inspiration, but as a lifelong journey of devotion and purpose. In the stillness of the desert nights, as the stars stretched endlessly across the sky, one could feel the weight of his story, a story that transcended time, a story of a man who carried the light of Allah's message with humility and courage. It was a story that whispered to every heart that even in the face of the greatest trials, the promise of faith could guide one toward an eternal peace. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the remarkable life of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. His legacy, rooted in faith, compassion, and unwavering dedication to Allah, continues to illuminate the hearts of millions across the globe. We hope this story has inspired you to reflect on the timeless lessons of his life and the transformative power of faith. If you found this exploration meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe to Islamic Explorer for more profound insights into Islamic history and teachings. May peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad and may Allah guide us all on the path of truth and righteousness. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.